So changing out your furnace filter is one of the most common maintenance items that we're going to have to handle as homeowners. So let's go over the top 5 items, starting off with number 1, and that is the frequency. How often do we change our furnace filter? Now, depending on who you talk to, this can vary quite a bit. If you talk to the filter industry, they're probably saying once a month because they want to move as many filters as humanly possible, but the consensus is 3 months. Every 3 months, you should be changing out your furnace filter and then just monitor it. Every time when you change it out, if it is perfectly clean, maybe you can extend that out a little bit, but if you change it out every 3 months and it is caked with dust, dirt, and debris, maybe you need to move that frequency up a little bit. But we did poll our viewers, and you can see the majority of them did say every 3 months is how often they're changing out their filters. So number 2 is picking the right filter. One non-negotiable is you need to understand what size of filter do you currently have in your furnace. Mine is a 16-inch by 25-inch by 1, so that is exactly what I need to get to make sure it fits into the slot within my ductwork. And then you look at a MERV rating. What is the MERV rating? That's the standard for classifying a filter, and really what does it allow to pass through the media or pass through the fiberglass. You can have as low as a MERV 1 like this one, which is fiberglass, and you can actually see through it. So this will only filter hair and very large particles, but it causes about the least amount of restriction possible on your blower fan, and that can help to extend the life of your unit because it's not always having to work as hard. So there is a bit of a trade-off. Now, the problem with a lot of the big box stores is they've decided in their infinite wisdom to come up with their own rating scale. So at Lowe's, these 3M products use an MPR rating of 1900, which has a cross-reference to the MERV rating. It's just not very apparent. And then Home Depot, again through their infinite wisdom, decided to come up with the FPR rating, which is just 1 through 10. Pretty confusing, but I put together a little table that I'll show on the screen and you can take a picture of it, and this will help you cross-reference the MERV rating to the corresponding MPR and FPR depending on where you're shopping. Now, my personal preference and also the consensus from hundreds and hundreds of comments that come in is a MERV 8. This one from Home Depot, which again has their classification of a 5, an FPR 5. This is a MERV 8. I like it, has a little bit more structure overall, and it will filter out much more than our MERV 1 over here, but it's not going to cause too much restriction when I'm changing it out every 3 months, assuming I don't have an excess amount of dirt and debris going through my ductwork. Now remember, our filter is not an air purification system for our home, so that's a little bit of the trip up some people have. They want to go up to something like this one because they see some of the marketing saying, oh, it's going to take out allergens and bacteria and viruses. That all sounds good, but I would step away from those, especially in the 1-inch size. I wouldn't go too high on that MERV rating. If you want to go higher, it's going to be a bit more work, but you could switch out to a 4-inch, which is going to have a lot more surface area and have less restriction going through while filtering out the smaller particles. The problem with that is you can't just put that 4-inch in. You will have to get a whole nother filter slot retrofitted into your cold air return. So there's going to be more cost. You can do that DIY, but you might have to hire that out as well. So before number 3, which is going to be changing out the filter, I want to turn off the furnace itself. Now you can hit the breaker or turn off the switch near your furnace. I prefer to actually go to the thermostat and just go ahead and set my desired temp for the room well below the room temperature of 71, and then that will stop calling for heat. But it will make sure that the furnace turns off on its own time, going through the normal cycle and not abruptly stopping like when I cut its power, which could lead to some issues. So number 3 is improperly installing your furnace filter. Now first, just getting the old one out. If you're using your fingers, usually it'll catch on some sheet metal screws, or here it's catching on the hinges. I found a little scrap of bare ground wire. So I'm just gonna do a little hook here so I can bring that in and just hook that cardboard on the end, and then that's going to give me something I can kind of work free and then easily pull that old filter out of the slot. So installing the new filter is super simple. You just need to pay attention to a few things. One, the filters are made to flow in one direction. So this arrow should be pointing to the furnace itself. My cold air return arrow for the flow of the air would be in this direction, And sometimes you can just put an arrow on your ductwork so you can kind of remember that, or to help people out in the future. And then you can see the arrow is pointing in that direction as well. The only other thing I would do is on this end here, so it's easy to see, I'm just going to go ahead and mark the date so I remember when I changed this filter, if I forget, and if I need some reference to know if it's been 3 months already. So sometimes when you press it in, another mistake is you can hit the end of that channel and you won't get it fully seated. So sometimes you do need to work that around to make sure it's fully seated in there. So number 4 I actually had in my own home, but before we move on to that, I do want to ask for your help on something. Our whole mission here is helping you save time and money on your home. So one increasing cost to our home is homeowners insurance. So to better understand that, we're pooling our information together. We have a link in the description that takes you over to a survey that you can fill out in a matter of minutes if you have access to your insurance policy details, like your deductible, how much liability are you covering. I understand this can be a pretty boring topic, but if you submit your information, then we can send you a custom report for your state, which is the aggregation of all the other viewers' information. How much liability coverage are they carrying? What is their deductible? What is the average premium? So you can have more information to know, should I be going and shopping around for better coverage or a better price? And if you need help, we are stitching together a network of independent insurance agents, which the viewers said that is their preference. 2 out of 3 of you guys said independent insurance agents are a better option because they will shop for you to try to get the best coverage and the best price. So thank you guys for your help. Fill out that survey in a couple minutes and then we'll send you right over your custom report. So going back to number 4, an open slot for your filter is something that you might need to fix. If you do not fix an open slot, then the air going through your blower and then out through your ducts can be unfiltered. It can be bypassing your filter, and that is also going to reduce the amount of airflow coming back from your return ducts. So this can really affect the design of your system and might lead to poor performance in your home. Now, overall, it can be a very easy fix. You can use something as simple as duct tape to cover that slot, or there is a product called Filter Lock. If you have metal ducts like I had in my own home, it's very flexible and pretty much adapts to any size. In a matter of seconds, you can then seal that up, making sure the air is coming through your return ducts, going through your blower fan, and then out through your vents. And then number 5 has nothing to do with the furnace filter, but has everything to do with something you need to set up for your furnace. So if you have a power outage, especially a multi-day power outage, you are able to heat your home. So the way I disconnect and connect power from my units is not a light switch, which you guys might have and called out by code, but it's actually 2 power cords. These power cords are how I connect and disconnect power from my furnaces, but it also makes it easy to plug these in and power my furnace in the chance that the power is out. If you want to see how to do this and why to do this, check out this video right here. I'll walk you through the installation and show you an example of measuring the power and energy consumed by your furnace so you know what generator or portable power station to get. So thanks for joining me on this video, and we'll catch you on that next one. Take care.